Hey, I want to give you guys an update. The Supreme Court has declined to take the AR-15 ban case and the magazine capacity limit case. So we were all hoping that they were going to take it. Okay, now it doesn't affect us like in the red states. It just affects people in the blue states, right, where those things are banned. But still, this is something we want those people in those states to have freedom too, right? So yes, we would like the Supreme Court to take those cases. They declined. The question now becomes why? Why did they decline it? So the place where I go to get that information is Mark Smith. He's got a channel called the Four Boxes Diner. Okay, the guy is a constitutional scholar. Um, but beyond that, he's somebody that talks in front of the Federalist Society. So this is somebody that judges and high-level lawyers listen to. Okay, so this is somebody that really knows the stuff, and the stuff that he says, the stuff that he writes, judges and lawyers listen to. Okay, so the reason why he says that the Supreme Court didn't take the case now is because they just don't have enough political capital to deal with all the other cases in front of the Supreme Court, right? Because right now they're dealing with those the rogue judges, the activist judges that are trying to stop Trump's deportation of the illegal migrant invaders, and also they're trying to stop Trump from firing the deep state bureaucrats. So that's kind of like the important stuff that the Supreme Court is trying to keep their eye on, and whatever the ruling is on that, it's going to be a very hot button issue, something that is going to get a lot of attention, a lot of love, a lot of hate. So I don't think, or rather, Mark Smith doesn't think, right, that the Supreme Court wants to, because they know they're going to have to deal with that stuff, right? They don't want to also have to deal with a really hot Second Amendment issue on top of that. So what they've done is they basically have postponed it. And Kavanaugh actually made a statement that he says that he presumes that the Supreme Court will take an AR-15 and magazine limit case within the next 2 terms. Okay, so most likely, so his next 2 terms, he's saying either in Trump's 3rd year or 4th year. I would guess 3rd year, because 4th year is an election year. So I think 3rd year is probably where they will take it, because all these cases that are running their way through the courts now with the illegal migrant invaders and firing the bureaucrats, shutting down the bureaucracies, all that stuff should be resolved by Trump's 3rd year, right? I mean, they'll probably be resolved by his second year, but definitely by his 3rd year. So then they'll be able to deal with those cases, and this basically whatever ruling they come out with, all the noise from that will have died down. Okay, so that's probably the reason why they decided to postpone it. But it is encouraging that Kavanaugh said that he presumes that the court will take an AR case within the next 2 terms. Okay. So that's good. So what the thing I'm really looking forward to more than anything is the suppressors coming out of the NFA, because that's already passed the House. We just need to get it through the Senate, okay? And it's one of those things where you gotta put your calls in. You can call more than once, right? So I've already called a couple of times to the senators in my state. And I think they're out of session right now. Today's June 2nd, right? June 2nd, 2025. They're out of session right now, but they're going to, when they come back into session, hit the phones, start hammering away with the phone calls, leave messages. It doesn't matter if you leave messages. There's somebody that keeps track of that stuff, right? That puts a check mark, because they got a whole bunch of issues. People call in. They don't record the details of what you said. They just make a check mark to support Short Act, support Hearing Protection Act, whatever. They just kind of put a tally mark for what people are calling in for. And the best thing that we can do is, we did this when this was running through the House, is to basically put in so many calls in that the switchboard is overloaded and they stop taking calls, right? Because then they're like, okay, we don't want to deal with this anymore. So it doesn't matter if you don't get through. The fact that you're calling and shutting down their switchboard, that sends the message across just fine. Okay, they're getting the message. So that's the thing. That's where we're going to have the greatest victory. Okay, and the most immediate victory. These Supreme Court cases, they're not dealing with this stuff. The reciprocity, we're not dealing with. I mean, that's just not being dealt with right now. Because for one thing, that has to get that has to pass the 60 vote filibuster of the Senate. Okay, we call it the suppressor, the Hearing Protection Act to get the suppressor out of the NFA, and the Short Act to basically get the short barrel rifles out of the NFA, because those are tax stamp items, right? It's a tax item that can go through on a budget reconciliation, which is what they did to get it, where it is right now. So that is not subject to the filibuster. Okay, that can pass with 51 votes in the Senate. The Democrats cannot filibuster that. So that is the best place, the place where we have the chance to get an immediate victory. And if we get one victory, victories tend to pile up on each other, right? So we gotta, that's the thing we gotta focus on. Put your calls in to your senators, so especially as soon as they get back into session, put those calls in, light up their switchboard. But as far as Supreme Court, they're not touching a Second Amendment case. They're not doing it for at least another year or two. Okay, but I think that this will be decided. The issue of AR-15 bans and magazine capacity limits. I believe, and Mark Smith believes, that this will be resolved before Trump finishes his second term. Okay, so drop some comments. I'll talk to y'all soon. Hey everyone, I wanted to add one more thing as far as why Supreme Court is not rushing to take another AR-15 case. I mean, they're probably looking at the results of the NYSERPA versus Bruin decision, and how much difficulty they're having in enforcing that decision, right? Because states like New York, New Jersey, California are just not honoring that decision, and Supreme Court really has no enforcement power. So, taking an AR-15 case and ruling in favor of gun rights probably wouldn't have the immediate benefit that we think it would have for people in those states. They would probably force people to get like permits, I mean, they would find other ways to restrict. I mean, in order to get those permits, they probably have them do a whole bunch of backflips and stupid stuff like that. So again, not that they shouldn't take the case, but it's probably not the best place to. They figure that's probably not the best place to put their time and effort right now, when there's all these other cases that they're dealing with in Trump's first year.